Alright, so let's make a video about playoff Lenny. I feel like I should have done this already. Well, why not? It's been fun, sort of a fun, unlikely hero for Tampa Bay during this playoff run. Let's talk about what he's doing well. So first on this one of the key ways this play works, obviously, is, you can see it on the screen. There's multiple double teams right here. You have your center and right guard, and also left guard and left tackle. They both then, someone gets off the double team to block the two linebackers. Leonard Fournette can kind of run just up the middle. That's how it typically works. And once this play starts, there's not really, there's not really a lot of logic in what Fournette is about to do right here. There's a clear opening over the middle, not a big opening. I mean, he would have to try and squeeze through it. I don't know how many yards he gets. Might only get a few, but doesn't do it that way. Instead, he's kind of just running straight into his own offensive lineman. I'm not really sure exactly what his, again, I don't really know exactly what's going on here. It's in real time. It's hard to make these decisions. He probably saw something and just sort of made the wrong read. It happens. But also, I'm pretty sure you guys remember this play. Because it was on every highlight reel. This was an incredible run, and even though it starts off not great, it's going to end great. So Fournette ends up, running into his own offensive lineman, but steps over him and is able to keep his balance. And that's a lot easier said than done. So even though it kind of started off slowly, he's here. And at this point, now there's a defensive back who can make a tackle potentially. But one of the things that I feel like Fournette is really good at is just sort of shifting his direction, making you think he's running one way, running another way quick enough that you can't make the tackle. He sidesteps away from Jair Alexander and then spin moves past Adrian Amos and powers his way in for a touchdown. Just an incredible play, and that is the kind of play that makes you think of him back at LSU and some of the things he was able to do there. And I really do think that Fournette is probably at his best when he has space to operate, and so for Tampa Bay, they've been able to clear up some running lanes, and he's been able to take advantage in this postseason, especially given that in the playoffs, it seems like a lot of teams have had a conscious effort to have two safeties deep, which has given him more opportunities in open space to operate. And, against Kansas City, there will be a good amount of man coverage and a good amount of two safeties deep, so they'll have that going for them. So let's show this one. Really, I just want to focus on what's going on the edge right here. So the two key guys to watch here for Tampa Bay, the ones who have their blocks shown on the screen, is Rob Gronkowski and also Joe Hag. Hag is their extra offensive lineman, so he's to the right of Wirfs, to Wirfs' right, so defense is left, and then Gronkowski's all the way on the edge. What's interesting here is the guy they're blocking is Cam Jordan, who's obviously good at football. And what's even more interesting is that it's going to be the extra offensive lineman getting off the double team to block a linebacker, meaning that Gronkowski is going to be the guy who has to hold on to, not hold Jordan, but, hold his own against Jordan is what I'm trying to say. But as you see, Gronkowski is going to be able to do that. Really a good block. And, Jordan got fooled a little bit, and it was a good read by Fournette. So all of that factors in. And that's kind of one of the fun things about making this video was how many plays I saw that Gronkowski was just it could have been a Gronkowski blocking highlight reel. He still has it, no doubt about it. Now Leonard Fournette has a one-on-one matchup against a defensive back in open space, which he's good at. He can win these types of situations. And there's, other help for New Orleans to the inside. So it's not the end of the world to get beat to the inside, but obviously you'd love to just make a tackle immediately if you're a defensive back. However, again, he gets to the inside and is able to pick up even more yards. Good run from Fournette. So good blocking, but also a good run. Listen, you're not going to find too many great runs without great blocking. Almost always, the great runs you see are going to also involve great blocking, or big runs you see are going to involve a really good blocking as well. But still, that's a good play. Like this play against Washington was incredibly well blocked. This was insane. So here's what happens. So Gronkowski goes from the offense's right to the offense's left. You now see that he's going to end up blocking 55, the linebacker there. And you have 4 one-on-one matchups right here. It's Donovan Smith, the left tackle. You have Ali Marpet, who's the left guard. And then you have Ryan Jensen, center. So I would really say Marpet and Gronkowski kind of have two very important blocks here going up to block the linebackers. But watch how once this play starts, you see Jensen, this is unbelievable block by their center, getting this clear space in the gap where they can run through. Donovan Smith also doing a very good job on Chase Young. He did a great job on Chase Young all game. This is a good example of it. And then both Gronkowski and Marpet, I thought Marpet probably had the block of this play, and that's saying something because there's 4 like highlight reel level blocks on one play. This is not easy to defend against for anybody, and this makes things easy for Leonard Fournette. So playoff Lenny, yes, but also how about playoff offensive line blocking? But also, as you see, Fournette then does a great job at accelerating and running and picking up as many yards as he possibly could have in open space. So I don't want this to seem like I'm, discrediting Fournette and saying it's only the offensive line. It isn't. The offensive line is doing a great job, but Fournette is taking advantage of that and using it to his advantage to get as many yards as possible. So he's doing a great job. And also in the passing game, like this one, what you're going to see is that this is a cover 2 man play. They're really not that focused on Fournette because, how can you put much focus on Fournette in the passing game when you're playing a team that has, all of these offensive weapons and all of these receiving threats? On the field right now, there's Tyler Johnson, there's Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Rob Gronkowski. And so for Fournette, it's basically just the linebackers going to be covering him, and that's what you hope for New Orleans is that he can cover him. Brady takes the snap, Fournette runs up, and at this point, it's going to be tough for him to get too open, right? I mean, he's going to cut over the middle, but the second he cuts over the middle, the linebacker who's covering him can just follow him, and there won't be much separation. I mean, it's not like Leonard Fournette is Antonio Brown out there, but what Fournette does know is where he is on the field. If you noticed when the ball was snapped, it was snapped at the 6-yard line, meaning he can create contact up into the 5-yard line. You can't make contact past 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, but you can make contact right now. There is no such thing as pass interference at this point in the play. There's such thing as holding, but not pass interference. So Fournette creates the contact, which allows him to get wide open and then makes the grab. It was a bit, it took a bit for him to be able to really make that grab, but gets a touchdown, which was that's a huge touchdown in the game. I mean, that's, you say playoff Lenny on a 3rd down and 5 to find a way to get the touchdown when you were down 7 points late in the 3rd quarter. They probably go for it if Fournette isn't able to make that play. So that's just a giant play in the Bucs season. And honestly, if he doesn't make that catch, they might not be in the Super Bowl. It's literally that big of a play. Okay, let's talk about Week 12 for a little bit because, I want to preview the Super Bowl. Obviously, these two teams played each other Week 12. This is the play I'm going to show. But what I want to show is, and kind of talk about, is I wonder how much Fournette is going to play in the Super Bowl, given that Ronald Jones actually had a pretty decent day against the Chiefs, and this play was his best play. So Brady takes a snap, gives the ball to Jones, and you notice there is a block to the left right there. There seems to be there is a gap to the left right there, and there seemingly is always a gap to the halfbacks left because Ali Marpet is to the halfbacks left. He does a really good job there. But it's not a huge gap either. It's actually kind of hard to tell exactly how big it is because Donovan Smith's uniform blends in like perfectly with the logo, so it's a little bit difficult to see. I kind of guessed with my MS Paint marking on there. Yes, I use MS Paint for my graphics. Moving on. As you see, Ronald Jones this time is able to squeeze through that gap and pick up a huge gain in open space. I don't know if Leonard Fournette does that. To me, I'm less concerned about if Leonard Fournette, is able to pick up 37 yards on that play. And if he only picks up like 28, his number, that's fine. Who cares? Not who cares, but it's not that big of a deal, and it's worth it because Fournette is a much more complete back than Ronald Jones is. To the people wondering why doesn't Rojo get more touches, honestly, Fournette's kind of been outplaying him in terms of the running game, but B, Ronald Jones, in this very game, in Week 12, he blew a block that led directly to an interception. So you want the complete back out there, and I think Fournette is the guy. But you could see Ronald Jones having some good runs too. I do think Ronald Jones is the better pure rusher, which is why it's interesting and why I wanted to kind of talk about that. Kind of an interesting dilemma. It's the age-old dilemma of do you give the starts to the more complete back or to the guy who can just run better. However, Fournette's made that decision a lot easier by being able to run, just as good, if not better, than Ronald Jones these past few weeks. It's very fun to see. Cool story as well with everything, getting cut by a team, now being able to be a playoff hero, going to the Super Bowl, fun stuff. So yeah, that's what I think of playoff Lenny. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.